The real-time debugging means, you can logs the things, right? But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
what will happen, you will see an error, which for which you are not able to see, resolve or see any help, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
other than help center or just googling the things, they have provided. Uh, if you'll click on this help center, and there is the sweet answers. So, almost 50 to 80% of your errors what you are seeing, 50 to 80% of the errors you can find here in sweet answers. You will whatever error you are seeing, you will just type the error here and you'll click on enter. For now, let's say, uh, let me type an error. Mm, so this type of answers they
Mm-hmm.
have provided in suite answer. So let's say we are unable to set a date field value here. So we'll open this, and they will sometimes provide the solution in form of code as well, and sometimes they will provide suggestions. Sometimes it may be because of UI only, the settings wise, and sometimes you just need to just see what solution they have provided, right? So it is one part
Mm-hmm.
of debugging. It is the major part. What happens? Otherwise, debugging is the only thing you can do. That is the thing only. Other than that, yeah.
But how
So,
do you debug? Like, for example, when I run, right? I want to look at the variable. Like, how do I do
uh
that?
sorry.
I want to run the program and want to see the variable. How do I do that?
You want to see what? Can you please come again?
A variable, the value of a variable or something like that. Yeah, how do I do that? How do I do that?
I mean,
Uh,
in what will happen if you can understand? Most of the technologies, what happens, you can run the code locally, right? But in NetSuite, you
mhm,
cannot run a code locally. You will have to deploy it over the record only, and you have to test it in testing mode only. That is the way
mhm.
only. Yeah.
So there's no way you can actually do a debug at all, like go step by step, one step, two step, those kind of thing. It's not possible.
Possible in the sense, it means once you will deploy it, then only
Mm,
step by step you will do the debugging. For let's
mm.
say, what should I? Let me open an sales order only. Yeah, so it has loaded. Let me
Mm-hmm.
open the sales order here. So, we have a requirement, like, what will happen? You
Mm-hmm.
want to, on this sales order record, you want to set the value on this field, right? In this field,
Mm-hmm.
you want to set a value, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to fetch the value from a customer record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have to get the value from sales or the customer record. So you will check that the value is coming in that variable or not. Then only you can set the value. So like this, there will be complex problems. you will see the values in one variable. If that is coming, then you can move to the ahead next code, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that is the way only. I mean,
Oh, so
it's
there's
the
no way you
same
can
for.
debug one step by step. There's no way.
No, I guess. I mean, the way we do it is like we if we most of the thing here is that playing with data, right? We
Mm-hmm.
most of the times we need to set the data, and we need to move the data from one end to other end, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
to debug that, what we do, we first check the data is coming properly or not. I mean, the way we want to set it, it is coming in that format or not. So that is
Okay.
what debugging, yeah, for me. I mean, other than that, if you have any, if you have read any article or something, so you can let me know. Maybe
Okay.
I
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
discuss about workflow. So
Mm.
workflow. Do you have any idea about workflows?
I have idea workflow in Salesforce and SAP.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, a workflow you trigger with something, right? Let's say I create a sales order, it's
Mm-hmm.
safe, right? So you trigger a workflow, right? So a workflow can, let's say approval, it can you can send an email to the other person, then he can actually log into the system and then approve a sales order, for example,
Yeah.
right?
So
Or
here
you can
in
auto.
NetSuite, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So here in NetSuite as well, I mean, workflows works the same way only. But what additional, I mean, what happens here is that most of the customizations, we can do with the workflow. So what will happen? Workflow is something like a user event script only. So in user event script, if you can remember, we had three trigger points, right? One was
Mm-hmm.
this before load, right? And one was this
Mm-hmm.
before submit, and other was after submit, right? So on before
Mm-hmm.
load, what happened, if we want to show any button or something, so we can set that button in before load and we can show the button, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and in before load as well, if we want to set any default value or something, so we can set via before load. And in before submit, we will be setting any value or doing any customization
Mm-hmm.
just before committing the data to database. And in after submit, after the data is committed to database, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the after submit triggers. So in here workflow as well, there are three main trigger points, the same way, right? But what mostly workflows is used for, they are used for approval processes, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
happens if you want to show a particular button to admin only, right? So those kind
Mm-hmm.
of customizations we do with the help of workflow, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let me quickly create a workflow here, and additionally I will tell you how we write a, workflow action script.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this will be the screen, customization, workflow new. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
then you can type any name, let's say. And same way, the CSV, right? We had transactions and something. So we will select one record type here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then the subtype. If transaction is record types, then we can select any sub record. Let's say invoice here. You can select any subtype, and
Mm-hmm.
we can select multiple as well.
Position.
And
Mm-hmm.
the same way, script used to happen in testing mode or in release mode. So you can select that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And enable logging means is something, what will happen whenever a workflow will trigger, it will give the log on the particular record as well. So you can enable the logging from here. And events here, you can see that I already told you, if you can recall. I mean, there are these types of mode: create, view, or update, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you want your workflow to trigger only on create mode, so you can click this. And if you want to trigger it in both, so you can click here as well. And here is
Oh,
trigger try. Before load,
okay.
or before record submit, and after record submit. So these three are the trigger points. The same way in uh, user event script. If you want to trigger it on all, so you can select all as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and here are save search condition as well. I mean, if you want your workflow to trigger for particular sales orders or particular invoices, so you can create a save search and attach that save search here. So that workflow will trigger only for the particular invoices, right? Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yep.
So yeah, we can work. Okay. So here we have state one, right? And this is the starting point. This is state, and we can create new states. And in this particular state as well, we can create actions. So let me create new state. Let me create a simple workflow so that. So this is the thing. This is one state. This is state two, and this we call transition, right? And we can
Mm-hmm.
put condition in state one as well, on transition as well, and in state two as well. So what happens in state one, if you are in state one, right? So you can create new actions, right? These much of actions you can create in this record, right? So let's suppose you want to create a button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to add a button, right? You need to give the label, and you need to trigger on one, you want to trigger it, and you need to give the id of that button.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say demo. Yeah, so in state one you have created only one button, right? And let's say you want to trigger your state two once the button is clicked, right? So you will click on this transition, right? And you want
Mm-hmm.
to trigger this state two only after the button is created, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there must be an option to trigger execute on button, right? Yeah. It will ask you when you want to trigger the state 2. So you will click here on workflow button, and you will save it. In state 2 as well, you can perform any action. Let's say on the click of that button, you want to send an email, right? So you can select this send email, and what you can do is that you can provide CC, BCC, and recipient address, and you can type whole body here,
Mm-hmm.
and you can attach any file like that. So you can save, and it will send an email after clicking on that button. So let's suppose we have saved this. Save. Let's open a invoice now. Is that showing a button or not? Okay, just taking time to load invoices. Yeah. Let's open one invoice. So you can see that our button is rendering here, workflow button, which we created. And as we discussed on this transition, we want to trigger
Mm-hmm.
this state 2, and in this state 2 we can perform any actions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like this you can create multiple states, and you can do the things. So now the thing is that what is the use of workflow action script, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what will happen, you can see that we can perform certain actions here. So as a standard, you can see that this much of actions only we can perform with the help of workflow, right?
Okay.
So which is a limitation,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there is thing that I want to perform one thing which is not a action in the list of the actions of workflow. So in that scenario, we will write a workflow action script, right? Though we can achieve that thing with another script as well, but sometimes what will happen, your client may be a technical person, so they might ask you for, do the things with workflow only. So in that scenario, you have to do it with workflow action script, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple ways to do the things, but yeah. So in that scenario, what will happen, you have to create a workflow action script. So now what happens in workflow action script, workflow action script will be written the same way any script we write, let's say a user event only, so it will be written in a same way. So let's suppose you are in one state, right, and you have added a button, and you want to what say you want to open a streetlet, right? You want to open a streetlet after the click of that button, right? So what will happen, you will deploy your workflow action script on the
Mm-hmm.
record on which your workflow is going to deploy, right? So let's say this workflow we are creating for which record, can you please uh,
Invoice.
this workflow we have created on invoice record, right?
Invoice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that workflow action script we will deploy on invoice, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if we have deployed that workflow action script on invoice only, so that workflow action script will show as an custom action, right? So
Mm-hmm.
do you understand, I mean a custom action, you can see
I
that
know
this
what
is a
is.
custom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whole customer credit custom. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it will show as a custom actions, not for all the records, for the record on which we have deployed that script, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So what will happen? We will select that action, and yeah, the same way we will select an action, and it will be performed the same way and standard action is performed. And
Mm-hmm.
we can debug the things in workflow action script the same way we do in any other script like user event or Sweetlet or MapReduce. So this is a workflow action script. Let me download it. Yeah, so here you can see that the same way in other script we write what is the version and what is the script type. The same way we will do
Mm-hmm.
this. And here
Type.
they
Okay.
are not
Mm-hmm.
taking any what should I say module. They are just doing things
Mm-hmm.
like this only. Yeah. Might be there is no need here, but we need to
Mm-hmm.
define what module if a particular module is to be taken, so we need to take that. But here what they simply are doing here is that they are on the record which they have deployed it, they will simply get that record in this variable, the new record variable, and
Mm-hmm.
from that new record they are fetching the value of this field, right?
Mm-hmm.
This might with the variable name, I assume this is a country only, so they are fetching the value of that country, and they are simply setting that value in this field. So here like other script we the same way we provide version and the type of script, And the same way we need to define what modules we are going to take. Here, there is no need to take modules, so that's why they haven't defined any. So what simply
Mhm.
they are doing here is that they are taking the new record. This is the record on which the script will be deployed. They will simply
Mhm.
are getting that record in this variable, and out of this variable, they are getting the value of this field, right? This cust entity customer name add field. They are fetching the value of this field. As this name suggests, this probably is the name of the country. Might be this field is storing the country, and they are fetching the
Mhm.
value. And here what they simply are doing, they are just setting the value of that country, but they haven't used value parameter. They need to set the value like this, and
Mhm.
whatever value will be coming, they need to like this. Okay. Yeah. So this way, a workflow action script will work this way. Sometimes it might be a lengthy script, because if you have to deal with, let's say, line level data, so that way, I mean, that will depend on totally on the requirement. So this is a simple
Mhm.
way to create a script, and this is the whole idea of workflow and workflow action script. So
Mhm.
does that make sense to you, or you have any questions? So you can let me know.
So this is a new record, right? So it doesn't say it's for invoice or whatever, right? So it can be used in
Right.
anything, correct?
Yeah. Right. Anything means
Um,
the new record simply here
a
defines
transaction.
on the record which the script is deployed.
Okay. Oh, we should, yeah, of course, of course. So in that case, right? This script is deploy. How do you deploy this script to the record? Let's say, for example, in the workflow, I can use different. I can first step is to do with sales order, right? Second
Right.
step on the workflow is let's just say is a what they call fulfillment. You call it fulfillment or
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, fulfillment, right? So it's a different record type of record, right?
Yeah.
So how this action script then is what is depends on where you use it, isn't it? It can be used it. How do you deploy and decide whether this script can only be used in the sales order or can it only be used in the fulfillment? How do you control which one is it being deployed?
So let's. Uh, 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 So here we are, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
in particular, what happens? You can create a workflow
Mm-hmm.
for a particular record only. So that workflow, if you want to trigger on sales order, right? So you will
Mm-hmm.
select the sales order here from transactions.
Uh-huh. But then my next step in my workflow can be invoice, right? Isn't it? Let's say for example,
Mm-hmm.
after I save my sales record, I want to automate and create a fulfillment,
Yeah,
right?
you want to create a fulfillment automatically, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
then I need to do something on the fulfillment. Let's say, for example, put some value from the account and
Uh-huh.
put in the fulfillment, right?
Yeah. Right.
Like fulfillment notes, shipping notes or address or things like that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That then how do I deploy that script into my where do I deploy the script in the fulfillment or in the sales order? How do I control that?
Okay. So you have to deploy that script on sales order, right? And
Okay.
let me tell you why we will do that. So
Mm-hmm.
we will select sales order here the same way. Let's say you have the things will be happening the same way. You will come into the first state, right? And you will add that button,
Mm-hmm.
and on that click of that button, you want to automatically create the item fulfillment, and as well you
Mm-hmm.
want to do something with the item fulfillment record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what will happen? This workflow action script. I mean, you have written a workflow action script, and you want to add that action on that on that click on that button, right? So what will
Mm-hmm.
happen in that script? You can see my screen, right?
I can see your screen. Yes.
The code you are seeing,
Yes. Not the code. I can see the workflow screen.
workflow script you are seeing, right?
Workflow screen. The workflow. The two boxes. Yeah.
Now
Now
you
I can see
now
the script. Yeah. Yeah. Now I see the script.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
let's suppose you have deployed your script on sales order record, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now what will happen? Your sales order record has been created. I mean, you will deploy that script on after submit record, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this new record will give you whole data on the sales order record because it has been committed to database, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now
Right.
after that with your script you will use an API which creates the item fulfillment record, which is record.create, right? And you will
Mm-hmm.
set all the values which needs to be set by default on the item fulfillment record, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
will happen, it will create the item fulfillment record, and whatever data from sales order is needed you can simply fetch from this new record data new record variable, right? So that
Uh-huh.
way you can create the item fulfillment, right? And after everything is you have set everything, you will use the record.save API. That save API, what that say record.save API does, it gives the internal ID of that particular item fulfillment record, right? So let's say
Mm-hmm.
your do I need to write the code? Okay, let me write the code for you.
So
uh,
okay.
let's simply say so here is this let's assume this is the sales order, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now what we can do, we can create an, let's say, where item, right? And what we will do, we will use our API record dot create, right? And record dot create does, yeah, and record type will ask for you can check for the right parameter. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just typing
Record,
for
record type
item.
item fulfillment. Okay.
Yeah. So this record.create API will create this record, item fulfillment record, and
Mm.
now you can set what are the default values you need to set in this record.
Mm.
You need to set else simply by without creating I told you that there is this one another API, transform API.
Mm-hmm.
You can use
Transform. Yeah.
record.transform. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it will automatically set all the values and it will automatically transform this sales order to this item fulfillment. It will automatically
Mm-hmm.
create the item fulfillment with the help of let me share. Yeah, so you can see that you can when we want to directly create something, so we need to give the from what type we want to transform. Here they have given example of from sales order they are creating the invoice, right? The same way
Mm-hmm.
we can give from in from we will give sales order, and to type we will give invoice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so it will create our item fulfillment. It will create an item fulfillment for us, and it will give the internal ID of that newly created
Mm.
item fulfillment, right? If I will
Mm.
log this
Yeah, again, I
anything.
see your browser instead of your.
Okay, sorry. If I will log this, so it will give me the internal ID of newly created item fulfillment, and from that internal id I can load this, and I can set further any value and do whatever changes I want to do here. So let's say this is
Mm-hmm.
record. I will
Mm-hmm.
copy this, and the same way I can get the value here, and I can
Mm-hmm.
set the values. It's just that this record needs to be, let's say, here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This way. So that is the thing here. What is this? Let's say this, in this shift field you want to set something. So this will work this way. You will deploy that workflow action script on the sales order record, and
Mm-hmm.
from that sales order record, you will create
Mm-hmm.
item fulfillment, and on that item
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment, you can do any customization you want. So that way, a
Okay.
workflow action script will work. You just and
Mm-hmm.
in workflow, going to the workflow, you just simply
Mm.
need to add that workflow action script as an action. So that is the
Okay.
whole idea of workflow and workflow action script.
So can you show me how do you deploy a workflow action script and attach it to the sales order, for example? Where is that?
Okay.
So once you upload it, right? Once you upload the script
Mhm.
and you need to attach it to a sales order or invoice, where do you do that? Script, okay.
So the same way it will happen. To deploy any script,
Uh-huh.
what we do, we go to simply scripting and new, right? The same way
Uh-huh.
do,
And okay.
and we
Uh-huh.
upload that script, and after that it
Uh,
gives us a screen like this.
yeah, deployment. So can you click on the tab? Is it in the tab of deployment?
No, it is the first we will create the script record, then after that
Uh,
the deployment record.
okay. So this is where you say sales order
Yeah,
invoice. Okay.
yeah. You can deploy it on multiple records as well, and
So I can
or a,
put it an invoice and also can put it as a sales order. Then I
yeah,
can
yeah,
do both. Then
yeah.
in my workflow, if I add a step where I need to do something on the fulfillment, for example, then I actually just said just get the new record will be the fulfillment. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, that
So
is
I can.
correct. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so
So,
I can say I can deploy to sales order, I can deploy to fulfillment, and then I also can deploy together in the invoice, right?
yeah, but
For example.
just to update you here, the example which you provided here, what will happen
Uh-huh.
in your example? You should, the here you should only deploy it to sales order record, because in your
Mm,
scenario, what will happen if you are going to deploy this on item fulfillment record? So,
mhm.
let me share that code. You can see the VS Code, right?
Now I can see the screen, the workflow screen. Yeah, yeah, okay, now I can see it.
Yeah. So in your scenario, what happened? We deployed this script to sales order record. So
Mm,
let's suppose you have deployed this script on the both the records on item
mm,
fulfillment and the sales order, right? So
mm-hmm,
for the sales order, it is working fine. You know why
mm,
it is working fine? Because first you are creating sales order, then from sales order you are creating item fulfillment. But what happens? The script will run the same way for item fulfillment, right? But here,
mm.
because in from type there is sales order, but your current recorded item fulfillment, so the script will not work. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
will
yeah,
give,
yeah. Correct, correct. If you have recorded it on a particular type of record, then of course you have to deploy it
yeah,
only for sales order, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Mhm. Okay. If I just say I want to put this customer field, let's say some notes in the account and put it in sales order, put it in fulfillment, put it in invoice,
Then
then
it
I
will
can
work
actually.
fine. Then
Okay.
it will work fine. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Does the things return anything? Does this script can return something back to the workflow? Like
Uh,
for example, if put this as a sales order, right? And then there's a fulfillment here, right? And then after I create a fulfillment, there's a number, a fulfillment number, ID,
mhm.
right? Can
Right.
I take it back, return back to the workflow so that the workflow does the workflow itself have a variable? Is my question, right? Can I actually return the delivery record, the fulfillment number back to the workflow? So maybe the workflow, when you go to the
Sorry,
invoice,
can you please come again? I missed something.
so can in a workflow, right? So you have
Yeah,
action, right?
yeah,
Action, you
right.
do something. Let's just
Yeah,
say that the action is to calculate something. Let's say he calculate two numbers, right?
yeah, yeah,
And he has a result, right? Can the
yeah.
result go back to the workflow so that the workflow can pass this value to the next stage? Is that possible?
Uh,
You
uh,
understand my question?
mm, Not entirely. Let's
So,
open that.
so okay, you can go to the workflow, right? So one
Yeah, yeah.
stage is there, right? So there's an action,
Let's
right?
say, let me open first. Let's say you are in first state, right? Yeah,
Correct. Hmm.
yeah,
Now you execute an action, for example,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Right.
So that action, let's say it calculates something, let's say in the sales order, it calculate the net value, calculate the tax or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Right.
want to take this value into my state two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, state two, I don't
Yeah,
know what you do. Maybe we create a
yeah,
fulfillment or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to take this value and pass it to state two, and whatever the action inside the state two, can take this value and do something
Yeah,
else. Let's say I have
so
two
yeah, I
action.
got your now I
Uh-huh.
got your question.
Mm,
There may be an standard way to do this, but I had this kind of requirement in one of my projects. So
mm,
what happened? I achieved this. So what I did, I was setting something or I was doing something in this state one, and that same thing was needed in state two. Right. So
mm,
what I
mm,
did, I created a hidden field on that particular record. Right.
mm. Oh,
And
so you cannot workflow itself doesn't have a as a I mean in SAP you call them a container, right? You can pass things from one step to the container.
no, actually, I
Like a global parameter, like something that's global, right? Between you can share between the two subroutine, kind of like that,
yeah,
right?
there may
Yeah.
be a way, but I achieved this by using a hidden field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the fuse here on the right side?
Sorry.
On the right side, there's a
Uh,
fuse.
this if
Is
you
it
if
is
you
it?
want to create any field, you can do just create
But what is that
fields.
fuse for? What is that fuse?
You
No, this
can
is a workflow state. This is a workflow state. Fuse.
create you can simply create fields here.
But what do they do? What do they use?
You can store any
Workflow state.
values if you want. If it doesn't want to store any value, you can uncheck this box.
Hmm.
These are the same fields, the custom fields.
So basically,
Nothing
I can actually put something here.
on label. You are saying?
So I can put some. I can let's say a number field here, right?
Yeah.
I can put a number field here, and then I can set a value in this number field somehow. They can pass to the next stage, next state. That's okay. That's okay. No problem. Yeah.
We can try this. There's, but to me, it seems like we can. This is nothing but custom field only. We can,
Hmm.
with the help of this workflow, you can create custom field
Hmm.
here by clicking the, with the help of this workflow. If you want further, I can update you on this tomorrow.
Hmm.
If you would like.
Yeah. I think so. It can be used to store something. Okay. I think so.
Yeah, let me check on that part. I will update. But to me, it seems like this is nothing but custom fields only. Yeah, we'll
Mm-hmm.
update you on this tomorrow. So the idea of workflow and workflow action script is is clear now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is one thing. So from past sessions, if you have anything, so you can let me know.
Okay.
This is an example to store to store a return value from custom action script in a custom field. Create a new workflow. Okay. So what this code is doing is that okay, they have deployed this script on any record, let's say on sales order. So what they are doing here, fetching the item count, they are getting the line count of the how many lines are there, and in this line item count, they are putting a for loop, and from the for loop they are getting the quantity for every item. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
that for every item they are the quantity, and if quantity equals to 0, they are returning back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here what they are doing, if you can see,
Mm-hmm.
you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, what they simply are doing, they have deployed this script on any, let's say, assume sales order here, right? Because line items we can have on invoice and or on item fulfillment or sales order as well. So let's assume they have deployed this script on sales order record only. So what they simply are doing, they are fetching the record here, and on that
Mm-hmm.
record, they are counting how many lines are there, right? uh, 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 how many line
Mm-hmm.
items are there,
And then the quantity, right?
and
Title
after that
locked in.
they are putting this for loop on this item count. I mean, they are starting from 0. Let's say this item count gives us there are 5 line values, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this loop will run 5 times. This loop will run 5 times, and every time
Mm-hmm.
it will give the quantity of the that line. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let me open a sales order. There is only one item. So let's suppose there will be 5 lines, right? So every
Mm-hmm.
time this script, this loop will run, it will give us the value of this quantity field. The quantity field is which one? Quantity. Yeah, this one. Every time it will give us the quantity of this field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it is saying that if the quantity equals to 0, it says return
Mm-hmm.
0, and if other than that, it is returning 1 only. So
Mm-hmm.
that is the thing. They are returning 0 or 1. Maybe these flags, this is just one example. They you might use these flags to
Mm-hmm.
further customize this script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, this is where I think you can use it to store the value from one action to the other.
I will not suggest this is a way to store the value.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is not a way to store the value. Uh, Let me read what is this. Storing a return value from a custom SQL script. This simply shows how to store a return value from custom SQL script into a work. Yeah, so if you read this article, what they simply are saying, they are
Mm-hmm.
returning this value, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are returning this value, and from there they are make sure that the script returns a value. I mean, obviously if you'll return something here, it will return us, and it
Mm-hmm.
says that make sure that there is something value. You can specify this on the parameter tab of the script record. So parameter tab is something here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the parameter tab. Okay, let's read
Mm-hmm.
further what it says. On the script page, parameter tab, or make sure in the value, make sure that the script returns a value. You can specify this on the parameter tab of the script record page. In SweetFlow
Mm-hmm.
create a workflow field. The field should be the of same type as the return value parameter. Yeah, so the return value for the workflow action script can be stored in the storage option. Yeah, it is suggesting that we can store the value from whatever this script is returning.
Mm.
It stores the value in that particular field.
Yeah, in the
Depending
workflow.
on if we are returning an number value, we need to create a number field from the workflow. Yeah,
Correct.
that depends on what type of customization you are getting. So depending on that, you need to use your workflow action script or something.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't come across with this kind of requirement. So, and
Mm-hmm.
just to update you as an technical developers, most of the things you will be doing without workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Workflow are mostly for functional developers, if you can understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.